everybody. Welcome to Clown-versations. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Barnaby. I'm your host, and I am the founder of Clown Spirit, where we take the power of clown and we use it to bring lightness, joy, and connection to you and to everybody around you. And I'm wearing a hat today. I don't exactly know why, because I don't wear hats indoors usually, but I don't know. Hats sometimes are necessary. They have some kind of magical power, I think. Maybe when the world feels a little unsafe and a little unsteady and we're feeling a little vulnerable and fragile, hats just help. They give a little bit of a feeling of safety and security. At least that's what I've always felt. So I'm wearing my hat. It's just a conversation. And now there's this. It's just a conversation with a fellow clown. It's not very serious, we're clowning around. It's really just a clown-versation. I'm noticing like a little bit of technical glitchiness today, like some kind of things phasing in and out, and things not being quite rounded and perfect, as they often are not, in fact, in the world and on my show, Clown-versations. If you're new to Clown Spirit and Clown-versations, welcome. Please hit the subscribe down there. And this is a bit of an unusual one. I was going to have the wonderful Dee Soini Madison today. And Professor Dee Soini Madison was in fact my supervisor for my PhD, my advisor. And she has been an incredible creative mentor and inspiration for me for many, many, many years. And is really one of the reasons that I'm, you know, that I found a way to make clowning into a life, into a living and a life and a passion, a vocation beyond just being a clown. And she was going to be the Clown-versation guest today, and she couldn't make it. She had some very serious personal things coming up and she could not. So in place of that, I was going to just cancel. And then I thought, wait, I can't just cancel. We have to actually have a Clown-versation today. And in the past, we have done these Clown-versations where I've invited a range of people from the Clown Spirit Village or just people I know to come on and chat about clowning. Because for me, clowning is not just about the people who are kind of, you know, the well-known big names in the industry. It's also about an everyday practice, this quality of integration, right? Of normality, of just bringing clowning into that everyday world. And there are thousands and thousands of amazing clown performers and teachers all around the world who are doing incredible work. And I feel that it's really important to see what they're doing, to lift them up, to talk to them, to be inspired by them. So hopefully, as we bring them on and chat with them today, they will provide you with some inspiration, some seed of an idea maybe, or just the motivation, energy you need to do your own work. So in just a moment, I'm going to bring on the first of our, I think we're going to have 4 or 5 guests, depending on exactly who shows up today. And we're going to chat about all kinds of things. We're going to find out about them and who they are and their work. And we're going to also just talk about clowning, what they're doing in clown that actually helps them get through the day, helps them get through difficult situations, and all kinds of other interesting, relevant questions. So my first guest today is Victoria Millard. And in fact, all the guests today are villagers, which means they're members of the Clown Spirit Village, which is the membership that we the Clown Spirit runs. We have members all over the world doing absolutely incredible work, and Victoria is no exception. She is actually just up the road from me in Seattle. She's a clown, an activist, an elder practitioner of radical joy. She brings humor into spaces of protest, care, and collective grief. She's currently teaching clown activism workshops in Seattle and inciting laughter on the streets as a form of non-violent protest. As I'm sure you're all aware, things are a little unusual in the world right now, particularly in the States. And so clowning is playing an important role in all of that. And so it's very exciting to be able to talk to Victoria about what she's doing. So here she is. Welcome, Victoria. Victoria, it's time.
Hi.
Are you just eating breakfast, or is it?
Yeah, sorry. It's early for me here, but this is great to be on. I'm so excited. I love this program. I love what you're doing.
Beautiful. It's great to have you here. How's Seattle today?
So Seattle is actually sunny and warm. It's pretty warm considering for this time of year. So we're hoping it lasts for a little while anyway.
Yeah. Hold that camera still, because we're all going to get seasick.
Oh, great. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hold it still. Okay.
It's a little worrying, the warmness, because I'm in Portland and that is also warm and there's like no sign of winter. Whereas in Florida, it's snowing.
Well, it's good for protest clowning because we don't like to get out in the streets in the rain. I mean, look at Minneapolis. I mean, those are amazing, amazing people in sub-zero weather. But, we've been going to a lot of protests with my clown group, Seattle Clown Trouble.
Yeah.
And it's easier in the summer by far. So we're looking forward to the next No Kings, March 28th.
March 28th. And hopefully, there'll be warm weather for that. Tell us what you've been doing, how you've been bringing clown into the protests.
Yeah. So, it's an atmosphere of fear. We're supposed to be afraid. We're supposed to be really tense and intimidated by this administration. So to bring clowns in is, a form of radical joy. It's so essential to get out there to help people stay in the moment of just in their bodies, in their bodies and not in their minds where fear is. Because if you can be in the joyful body, in the playful body, it's less likely than rage and anger are going to win the day and violence. So that's what we're doing, is in kind of inciting people.
To give me an example, like, can you paint a picture of what that looks like?
Yeah. So I have been playing Donald Trump as a buffoon. And I have a 12-foot red cape, a crown. I have 3 medieval clown pages. And I have a jester, a court jester.
Yeah.
And so what we are doing is marching through the site and stopping and having little exchanges with people. I ask for a hamburger and I brought a bun and I say, "Where's the beef?" And the jester says, "You deported the meat packers, Your Majesty." And I say, where are the vegetables? Lettuce and tomato. You deported the farm workers, Your Majesty. So we kind of get people's attention that way. And then, we proceed on with another little bit. And my clown partner, Kate Smith, who I worked with for years at Seattle Children's Hospital, is the jester. And she, also have others, but she at one point at the first No Kings had a rubber chicken. And she said, "I'm bored with this king. I'm just bored. Does anybody want to be spanked on the bottom?" And this woman in the crowd says, "I do." So she leaned over and she swatted her with the rubber chicken. And
amazing. So it sounds like there are sort of rehearsed skits and then there's also room for improvisation.
And there's wonderful improvisation with the crowd. It's just, you know, it's great that we've been working together for so long that she knows I've got her back and I've got hers. But, you know, the crowd is ready to play. They are ready to play.
Mm. So how do you train yourself? How do you get ready for this, for going out in clown?
Well, yeah, we do rehearse the bits. We come together, we hug each other, and we remind each other of why we're there. Clowns have always had this role throughout history. They've always flown in the face of the oppressor. They've always stood for rebellion, and in a way that is based in ridicule rather than satire.
Mm.
That is,
Ah,
yeah,
what's the
yeah.
difference? Can you explain that?
Yes, I will. Silliness,
Okay.
the aspect of silliness and self-deprecation. I think that is so important now because what we're seeing is black and white, enemy and friend, everybody stacked up against each other on one side of the other. And here the clown comes. I don't know which side I'm on. I don't know anything, but
Yeah.
I'm stupid. So, I could be, I could be anywhere. Um, it kind of takes the onus off uh, being against something. And I think
Yeah.
the clown, is, if anything, I'm just trying to get along myself,
Yeah.
to do things as I can. And I can, I as Trump and almost as am almost a straight man. I'm there to be ridiculed and made fun of. And the clowns holding the cape and the jester are working the crowd.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So but you're also teaching workshops that help people to do this
Yes. Yes.
themselves?
We have through Seattle Troublemakers, which is a local group. We have Troublemakers Clown Connection, which is a Signal site that has about 50 people on it who are interested in activist clown and street theater. And 23 of them have signed up for an activist clown workshop. I'm sure I think you've interviewed Robin Holbrook.
Hamburg.
Uh,
Yeah.
and her activist clown toolkit is
Yeah.
something we've been looking at.
Yeah.
And then kind of going from there to basic clown presence and play and embodiment to some of the issues that you encounter, might encounter on the street versus,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. What I think you're working in that tradition of which I know was a big inspiration for Robin, the clown insurgent rebel clown army, the clandestine
Yes,
insurgent rebel clown army,
yes,
um,
yes.
who were working out of the UK in the 2000s. And one of the things that you're saying that really connects with that is how clowning doesn't need to take a side. It doesn't need to it doesn't need to be attacking. It actually is more about finding that common ground, or not political common ground, but like
Yes.
that deeper humanity of joy, of love, of connection, of that we're all human underneath, and they can kind of soften the conflict, that hard edged kind of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Activist clowns are not protesters in clown costumes.
Right.
They
Right.
are not, they are not there to protest against other people or against anything. They are there because they're curious.
Mm.
And, in my case, I'm actually playing a buffoon who is the straight man, but the clowns who are working with me don't really want to be there. They're much more interested in the crowd. They have to carry the cape.
Right.
They have to give me the Diet Coke with the plastic straw, not the paper straw, which he's banned, but they're just tired of their jobs.
Yeah.
So that creates a real fun dynamic between the crowd and what we're doing.
I think it's amazing what you're doing, and thank you so much for
You're
doing it.
welcome.
You're sort of being on the
Welcome.
front lines of the clown protest world. Will you hang out while I bring
Yes.
on the next?
Yes, I will. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next person I'm going to add into the mix here is Lilia Gaab. She is a contemporary clown performance facilitator from Germany. and a teacher working between poetic clowning and physical theater. She's developing her nonverbal solo show, Mission, or redeveloping it, and also leading playful workshops that invite people to let go of correctness and come alive through play. So lots of connection there with what we've been talking about with Victoria. So welcome to Clown-versations. Oh, again, you see the technical glitch is happening. There, Lilia.
Hi. Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for being here, for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm just gonna mess around with the let's see. Oh, look, there we go. Lilia, thanks for joining us all the way from Germany. What's the climate like for you right now?
You mean my clown world professionally?
Oh yeah, maybe. Or you know, how's the feeling in Germany or in the town? What town are you in?
Augsburg is Bavaria. It's close to Munich.
Is it very cold?
So 2 or 3 degrees.
Yeah, that's pretty cold.
It's okay. It's okay. I was born in Kazakhstan. I'm I'm German from Kazakhstan. So, and with 16 years, I came to Germany. I moved to Germany with my family. And in Kazakhstan, the winter is about minus 30 degrees. So I know this time, and it's beautiful winter. So in relation to Germany's winter is, no, it's not so cold, but it feels another winter. This 2 or minus 2 or 3 degrees is like sometimes colder than in Kazakhstan, minus 20, really, because it's because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have you know, very you know, an accomplished clowning career. You have a show. You're kind of, I know you quite well because you're in the village and you come to coaching sessions, and so we talk about these things. You know, you're in the midst of redeveloping a show, and you have these playful workshops. But I'm curious, what is it for you that keeps you clowning? Like what is that magical sort of ingredient about clowning that keeps you doing it? Because it's quite hard, I think. Or maybe you wouldn't agree with that. What is it that keeps you clowning?
It is. I think it's like 1 minute of silence. How hard it is.
Yeah,
it's really hard. So especially, maybe not for all, but especially for me, it's very hard.
Yeah.
I'm very in my mind person, and so yeah, it's hard work. Yeah, it's a good question. Clowning is for me, it's like a lighthouse for my life. Sometimes I think if I wouldn't have clowning in my world professionally, it would be really very boring. Like, wow. I could develop my career as a psychological counselor. I mean, I'm professional psychological counselor since 15 years, and I worked with addicted people. And I'm mother of 2 children, of 2 sons, 21 and 23. We have house in Germany, so we're like very earth grounded family. And I could develop my career as a psychological counselor, but if I think on this career and developing on marketing, it's like it's no spark. It's like I could it and I do this work, still I have clients, but less time, less. In the moment, 5 clients. I don't say yes to more clients. But if I think about clowning, it's like, wow, in universe, on on possibilities, on more dreams, on more where I can grow, where I can research or know myself in different ways. So it's so exciting for me that clowning makes my life. So
how do people react in Germany when you tell them you're a clown? Is there understanding and acceptance, or is it still kind of strange?
it's always a little bit, because I say always not just I'm clown, I say always I'm poetic clown. In this way, I try to go a little bit in this curved, not to be in this cliche of happy birthday clowning, because most people think so on this McDonald's clown and yeah, happy birthday and balloons. And I'm not doing this. I don't like to work with children, so honestly, it's not my way. And the other side, I'm not a clinic clown as well.
Right.
Theater clowning, if I say theater clowning, this is always this connection only theater, but I love facilitate workshops for non-actors as well, like for actors. So my choice was to say poetic clowning or new clowning or contemporary. For my website, I wrote contemporary, so like it's very serious. But so in the daily life, I say always, oh wow, I never heard about it. So let's like a door to a new topic for people and to bring them from this area of cliche what clown is. And if I say in this way, poetic clown, then I have to say something about it.
Right.
All people are really curious and say, wow, really? I didn't know that it's such things are in this world. And do you offer a workshop? And a lot of people in this connection, poetic clowning, and with my exploration, they get interested and curious.
Yeah. I'm sure they do, because the way you talk about it is quite it's like seductive, it's intriguing, you're like poetic clown.
Yeah,
Ask
that's
me
right.
more.
Intriguing. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I really think that everyone is really interested in clowns, like everybody in the whole world. They just won't admit it, and some of them are so interested that they're scared. They say they're scared because we're often really scared by things that we're really, really drawn to. It's something that's like pulling us to it, but we're like afraid of it because that pull is so strong. So I really think the whole world is potentially a clown student at your next workshop, Lilia.
Oh, very ambitious for me.
Let's keep this conversation going. I'm going to bring in our next guest. Now we have villagers, members of the Clown Spirit Village all over the world. We have folks in Australia who have to wake up at 4 a.m. sometimes to attend our sessions, which is real commitment. And South Africa is a place I've recently become aware of as a new epicenter of clowning, and it's just my awareness that's new. Not there's been clowning going on there for a long time, of course, and we have a few members in South Africa, and one of them is Sjaka Septembir. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but Sjaka is a South African clown, a theatre maker, an experienced teacher, rooted in physical theatre and community practice. He recently performed new clown theatre works and continues to grow the Blum Clown Troupe, which is the name of his company, training township students and building village-based clowning. And he was trained by the wonderful Giovanni Fossetti, amongst others. So wonderful to have you here. Sjaka, welcome.
Hi, Barnaby. It's great to be here.
Hey.
Hi, Victoria, Lillian. It was great to listen to you. Hi.
Sjaka, tell us about clowning in South Africa. Is it like going through a bit of a a boom right now, or has it always been quietly?
Firstly, I put on my hat because you had such a great intro about hats, so I decided I'd don my hat. Thanks for that. It's a bit warm here to wear hats. It's in the 30 degrees, probably close to 40 this whole week.
Whoa.
To your question about clowning in South Africa, it's probably having a bit of a dip, but there's also some young energy that's really exciting to see. I came back. I left Cape Town during COVID. I stayed on a farm in the Free State, which is in the middle of South Africa, where pretty much nothing much culturally is happening. There's a lot of sheep. And when I got back here, there's a little group called Clown Town. They're very young and they're hungry to do interesting things. So I'm excited to see that. Overall, I must say that the foundation of South African clowning, physical theatre, and so on has been ripped out underneath the main structures. Many of the physical theatre people are leaving. They are in UK now. I have friends leaving Korea, America, Canada. When I started becoming interested in the early 2000s, there were a lot of theatre companies, and there were a lot of people from South African practitioners have an affinity to go to Le Coq. I don't know why, but it's kind of the school that everybody goes to, and everybody else will follow that kind of line.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of interesting companies happening and interesting work. That is fewer. There's a lot fewer of that happening now. A lot of the theatre, I think, since 2010, after we had the World Cup soccer stadium thing, and we had a lot of money in the country that year.
Yeah.
And since then, it started to go a little bit backwards. We had a great company that I worked with was FTHK. We worked with deaf children and made clown theatre for festivals, but also working with the deaf. And that company folded, I think, in 2014. And so there was a great festival called Out the Box, which was also about physical theatre. That's no longer, and so on. So the state of corruption is actually a big thing. We had a march very different than yours, Victoria, last week, because the government owes the film industry, which I'm also part of as an actor in Cape Town, 640 million, which has just disappeared. But those are just little drops of corruption that don't even make the headline news because there's so much corruption happening here. Just 3 billion has disappeared, which was meant for a hospital, et cetera, et cetera. So that's worrying, but that's why we need clowns, especially in South Africa.
Let's talk about your training and your technique. I know you train with Giovanni, who comes from a Le Coq kind of perspective, like a background. He's very movement based, but I know that you've developed your own approach. So can you just walk us through briefly, like what clowning? How did you learn it, and then how have you evolved as a teacher?
I'm teaching it very much as I was taught, but I've just condensed it a little bit. So when I was at a school in Johannesburg called AFTA, we got physical theatre training, which started with the first year was improv and mime, and then the second year was working with masks and the full mask and the half mask, and then the last year was working with the smallest mask, which is obviously the red nose. After that, we have circuits of festivals, and I've been working as an actor in the industry. And then with COVID, I went to the Free State, and then I started working with the company in the township, and there I had 3 hours every week, every Saturday morning for 3 hours. I could work with these students. They each got a stipend, which generated a little bit of income for them. So that was also a good incentive. And we worked for 6 months and produced our first show that we opened up to the public. And then 6 months later, we did our first professional show at a festival, and we got great reviews. So I also, what I loved about that is it was such a short time of working with people, and we got so much out of them. And so it's the same kind of process. I first start learning improv. That's the foundation, and also work with breath, which is a nice place where I felt a lot of connection with your work, Barnaby. And then for awareness, we go into mime, so that we get more of the physical theater going. And then we do masks. I brought I make my own masks. So I brought a mask to show. This is more like a full-on mask.
Nice.
This one is quite nice because it's got a magnet in its nose. So it has a way of sticking here. Let me just see. Yep. Up. So it becomes more clowny. Up. Take it off. Up. So if I put this mask on, it's a Jan Jakkels. It's also got nice eyes. It's got nice. It's a stocking, which is slightly painted over. So if you so
Beautiful.
it's a wonderful all around mask. It doesn't have to be played just to the front like a more one-sided mask. So
yeah.
I also have this other one which I made for Professor Bomblebos.
Oh wow, I love that.
I use him in the Stinky show. So he comes in and the professor needs something straightened out, and Stinky the clown has to come and clean, and the professor gives him some kind of orders and then leaves, and then Stinky comes in and messes everything up. Hey. Hello. Yeah. So that's Professor Bomblebos. So then we work with the masks, starting with full masks, the half mask, then going into clowning.
Why do you think clown? This is a kind of a Lecoq pedagogy as well, right? That you go through a lot of training, mime and mask and chorus, and clown comes right at the end.
Yeah.
Why do you think for you? Why do you need all that stuff in order to be able to clown, or is it not really necessary?
I enjoy those processes because they're very deep. I have done a workshop with Vivian he's from the UK.
Gladwell?
From Gladwell. He starts and he throws you in quite quickly with the nose, and then there's another UK practitioner who's written 2 books. Just give me a second. I'll just grab one of his books.
John Davison, probably.
Yes, John Davidson. Got his book. Yeah. He's also very different. But what I like about the process, that's it feels like the process that Giovanni and the others take you through. It's like squeezes you like a like coal becoming a diamond. You really have to really go in and deeply find something. And I saw amazing things after the 3 years. There were, for instance, a girl that was a Barbie girl, and she was blonde hair and so on. And when she found that clown, she was just a weeping clown. She just cried and beat stuff. And this came out of something. The transformation that I see happening is something out of this world. Yes.
Yeah. I think, some of the most beautiful moments I've experienced in clowning have been, in workshops, really. Just things happen. And the translation from workshop into theater or into a show is a very tricky transition, I think.
Yes.
I want to bring in our next person here, and we'll come back to you, Sjaka, and also to all of you, because Anne-Marie Lindblad has just come back from the Gaulier School in Paris, And Anne-Marie, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Great to have you here. The reason I was excited to have you on here, Anne-Marie, is because, you know, you're kind of almost very close to the beginning of your clown journey. You've been a performer and an actor for quite a long time, I think, but you just kind of are in that initial exploration of clowning, and you've just come back from Goliath. Maybe you could just start by telling us why did you decide to, like, as an actor, what drew you to clowning?
Yeah. Well, I have lived in Los Angeles my whole adult life. I was an actor, director. I guess I am still, but I was affected by those strikes, affected by the LA wildfires, and have been displaced for a bit over a year now. So honestly, similar to what Victoria was saying, like I was working my online business and dealing with admin post-fire, and this twinkle in my eye about French clown school, like, was just there, and my life was quite grim, and there was so much going on that it kept coming back to it. And then every time I would talk about it briefly to anybody else, I could see a twinkle in their eye. Like there's a curiosity there. And so I think, yeah, I just kind of lost all of my identity markers last year with like my home community. I lost my partner. Like so much has happened that, yeah, clown seemed like a good through line. And also just because physically in my body, I wanted to remember what it felt like to play.
Wow. Amazing. It's so interesting how it's related to our life journey, right? That clown, that for you, it was sort of losing things in your life that led you into clown.
Yeah.
And it's almost like stepping even further into the void in some ways.
Yeah. And that's what's so humbling about that experience is it's like, we can do hard things, but that one came out of nowhere. So it's like, you couldn't really run away from the void. And I think just, again, I'm very new to all this work. Like my first workshop was in late September with Doc Brown in Los Angeles. And then I just got back from Goulier. And yeah, I've been told I started in the deep end. Like those are two schools or teachers that maybe are intimidating. And I'm so glad I walked into it not having any context of what really clown even is or was, or what these pedagogies were either. But I was reading the book, Trickster Makes This World, and it alarmed me in such a hilarious way how nervous I was that maybe my life is like a drawn out clown show and I'm this like weird archetype, these things that kept happening last year and leading up to it. I later learned after the fact that they're very clownish, like trying to fit all my stuff in my tiny little new car that I got is like very clown, and just so many things that I found hope in the philosophical exploration on like a macro level. But then something that Doc Brown said in his workshop that really struck me was like, this work is, you can't like McDonaldize or McDonaldify this work. It's got to get into your body and like feel it. And I think that was the missing link for me, is I was like working online and doing my online business and pushing through and trying to get FEMA to cover my wigs, like just crazy SOP stuff online. And so it was so disembodied, and I forgot what it felt like to value or tell myself that it was worth it to let something affect me physically when you can't measure the results as specifically as like our culture wants you to. But to me, this experience in the last like 4 months, I'm a baby clown, is like, it's changed my life forever.
I love that you have baby clown as your underneath your name there. I'm just going to mess with the things here and see if I can make you bigger so that we can see that as well. There we go, baby. So how was Goliath? Who was your actual teacher? Because it wasn't Goliath himself. Who was your actual teacher, and what was the work? How was the workshop?
Yeah, so I did the Lilia and Clown workshop, and it was with Eunice and with Dane. And then Nazareth was an assistant. But yeah, it was it was a couple weeks, and still processing it. I had the time of my life. Like, it was so much fun, but I do know that I don't know that it's for everyone. And I know you mentioned right before I went there that the style, what is it, negativa?
Via negativa. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know that going into it. And you're like, just so you know, it's okay if you don't like this. And so I'm really glad I didn't have context going in, and I have been doing like my own sort of trauma-informed nervous system work on my own side to be able to like address the Sjaka system that is clown too, because I think that is big for a lot of people who go there. And I have a lot of thoughts about it. It's not for everybody, but for whatever reason, I'm really grateful that I went into that experience not feeling totally shitty about myself after the fact. Like, it was so empowering for me. But
what was the basic modality then? What did you experience in the workshop?
I think, so maybe again, because of my clown ignorance, I didn't really know what the baseline curriculum is, like what the goals are. And they kind of, I felt anyway, this is just my experience, I could be totally wrong. But I think I went into it not really knowing what we're supposed to be doing, or like what clown is, or what the goal, like they gave us goals of like the game, which is le jeu, but and then clown was after that, and I didn't understand if you like, he basically was like, you break the rule, nothing matters, nothing's real. Basically, I'm like summing it up what Eunice would say. Mostly he said catastrophe to everyone, but like there was no clear line, I think, of what the end result again is. So it's a lot of like, okay, I guess I'll just start doing this thing. And I think what was confusing about that is like, if you don't know what the parameters are specifically, like in other modalities, like in acting or some other technique workshop, you don't know what the parameters are, what the results are, or I didn't anyway going into this, that it was all trial and error, which I guess is the negativa thing. But I think that can also be really tricky with people, depending on where they're coming from in the context, even like socially that they have in their lives and intersectionally. And that I'm really interested in, because a lot of, like, I do want to say, I have noticed in just the 2 clown workshops I've had, there does seem to be, I'm sure, like a side grouping of like, first of all, like non-white clowns, and then also non-gender conforming clowns that are like, ooh, this is how I'm curious about this in a different way, and this is how I can address mainstream audiences liking this, or certain things that are funny, or why do I not feel like I can use my voice in this way that seems to be like easily, or other clowns feel more free about. And that's something I'm really witnessing and like experiencing in myself, is like all the outside of clown workshops, like the outside world in a tomp, even in Gaulier, was like a different environment to navigate as like a woman than it was for the men there. Yeah. So, and like, yeah, a lot of what you said, Victoria, as well, is like the embodiment stuff, like just, it's so layered, and it's really exciting to me.
Victoria, did you have a thought about that specifically? Like how?
Well, yeah, I studied with Gaulier 40 years ago as a young woman, and it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And I don't know. I'd be interested to know what, I'm sorry, our German clown,
Lilia.
who's a therapist, would say about it. Because it occurred to me at the moment that you don't need to knock women down by saying, make me laugh. And then, oh, you didn't make me laugh. We're already vulnerable. We're already, maybe somebody who has a high ego, that would benefit. But I personally, as a young woman, having been subject to violence from men, just froze. You have that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Well, I just froze. So that's a question I'd love for I'm sorry,
Lilia
Lilia to address.
Yeah. Let's come to that, and because I want to bring Marie in, who's our last guest here, and then we can. I think this is a great conversation, and I would also mention that this is preempting a conversation that we're going to have at Clown-versation, which is the big conference, the online conference in April, and there's going to be a panel. There's going to be several panels relating to this. There's one that's actually about pedagogy and the via negativa. And then there's also some other panels around divergency and diversity. And Michelle Matlock, for example, is going to be leading a panel on decolonizing clown. And so there's going to be lots of conversations that sort of coalesce around exactly what we're talking about here, how power, traditional forms of patriarchal power, for example, kind of connect with the clown world, both in terms of the stage and the classroom. So, but let me bring Marie in here. Marie D'Olio is a multidisciplinary theatre artist who's been a Clown Spirit villager for some time, I think around a year maybe. She's also a coach, cultural maker, and she has an organization called the D'Olio Creative, and her work spans across clowning, coaching, production support, helping artists and projects find their voice on stage and behind the scenes. She's prolific. She does an incredible amount of work, and she's based in the wonderful city of Chicago. Welcome, Marie.
Hello. Just tucking into my fantasy cozy world over here. And I heard hats were the theme, so.
I love that hat. I want that hat, actually.
Oh, you can have this hat. This hat is made out of cardboard and hot glue and fabric scraps.
Oh my gosh, you make everything.
I love to make everything, but it's also part of the tradition I come from, the islands. Our clowns are like parade and carnival, and making your own costume is part of that craft, which when I came to America, tried to separate really, really hard. I really did. I really tried to do one thing. I really did, I swear. But I can't. It's just
Wait. Oh, I just lost Marie. Where have you gone?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was riding those waves.
Where have I gone? I'm going to try that again. See if it works better this time. Okay, now I'm going to go like. And now we've lost Anne-Marie now.
There shall only be 5.
It's like one of those balloons where you have to keep throwing people out, and then Marie, I'm sad that you told us it was fake, because I wanted to believe.
I think there's a lot of beauty in the fake and the real, that place in the in-between. I think that's something I truly occupy. For as virtual as I love to go, I'm also an analog girl all the way.
Oh, interesting. Because when you're working on some pieces right now, and you bring them to the coaching sessions quite often, and you're really big on tech, right? Using backgrounds like that and playing in technical stuff. But so how does that play out? That in your own work, how do you find that balance, or how do you play with that in-between space of the imaginative and the real?
Yeah, I'm in a place right now where I'm really trying to link the tech to the real world. But ways that it has shown up in the past is making sets and props and costume pieces live. So that live manipulation and the factor of like, I don't know if this is going to work, and I might have to make fun of myself or live in the failure or work with whatever I got. Is such a fun factor that it's like, it's clown in everything. So there's always an element of improv in my work. And now I'm trying to find it for this world but connected to the real world. I've done it in the virtual landscape when we were in pandemic. It was so fun to connect all of our virtual worlds together. And now, because this look is, virtual world looks so nice. I love it. How does that affect my work in the real world has become the new challenge to solve.
Yeah.
And yeah, the more opportunities I get, the more I'm going to try to solve this problem. So the virtual work I've been bringing to the coaching sessions and the creation studio will also be a live show.
It's interesting that problem solving, right, is a lot of what you're interested in, I think. And you're very good at defining, the problem. And that's a clown process, right? A problem, getting clear on what the problem is.
Yeah. I also will say that sometimes it comes to me like a scientific project. I wonder if I do X, will my audience do Y? And I'm obsessed with like audience participation, but specifically spontaneous audience participation, that I've moved them so much that they cannot help themselves but to play. And there's that moment where they catch themselves and realize that they're activating in real time. And is that okay? And then they make the choice to continue. That is the thing I'm always like, I'm hungry for.
Can we do some audience participation right now?
Uh-huh. Always.
Yeah. Like, can you, I'm putting you on the spot here, but can you provoke us to, we're your audience, and the people watching can be your audience too. What could we do right now?
Yeah. So I've been thinking about, of course, our times and what is happening. I'm in America, specifically Chicago, and play is my big old force, my big mission in this world. So I've been thinking of play and conflict. And somebody much more smarter than me said, conflict is such a beautiful moment to realize something. So we're actually going to play in conflict. And since I'm here in the snow, we're going to have a snowball fight. So everybody start getting your snowballs together.
Ooh.
However big, small, slushy, icy, packed down, start to really add your emotional landscape to this snowball. Tuck it all in there. Oh, yeah. All right. And here we go. You're going to start to pull your snowball back because you're going to launch it to someone. In 3, 2, 1, and make a sound as you launch it.
Yeah!
And now receive, because you're traveling through the virtual world. Oh no! Marty got caught with a snowball. Receive a snowball in slow motion. You are getting hit with somebody else's snowball. You're getting hit with somebody else's snowball in slow motion.
Something weird happened with my camera.
Yeah. Got really affected.
Yeah, mine too.
Whoa.
It's real.
We toss that energy through the landscape. How are you feeling having a little bit of release?
That was good.
Well, I'm feeling confused.
Thanks,
because
Maury.
I threw a
You're in the
snowball. I threw a snowball at my camera. And now I seem to.
Oh no! What are we gonna do?
Well, one of you has to be in charge now.
There can only be 5.
Who's gonna be in charge? Who's the ringleader?
Oh dear.
We'll keep it going, sure.
Well, there's 4 women, so it has to be the man, right?
What?
As history shows, I
I
suppose
think
it
Maury is
does.
doing very well.
Sjaka, you're doing a good job of restraining yourself.
He's in the snow. Maury's in the snow. Maybe we can bring it back with the same kind of movement or reverse it.
I don't know what is going on. Like, why? Hang on, let me just try this.
Maybe this means that's our reality, and our snowballs were able to send energy through your camera and turn it off because
Thoughts are absolutely reality. From the
Yeah.
ancestors, I give you this. The mind makes the body.
yeah.
Absolutely. I'm also a big multiverse person, and the more you have the thought, the closer you can get to that particular multiverse. Why aren't you the variable?
I was wondering that because you said the type of clown you are, you're like a multiverse clown. And I thought, how does that play out on stage in a live timeline of linear stage time?
That is something I'm actually trying to figure out. The virtual background does help. I do have multiple of characters. I have a portfolio of them, and they are all me. They're all aspects of me. I can even align them with Maslow's pyramid of needs according to how I structured my clowning. I've been clowning since I was 15, and I'm in my 40s now. So each of them were for a purpose. And I did do birthday parties, and I still work with kids, but I still work with adults, and I do X-rated and all of it. It's super fun.
How do you work with the Maslow chart?
Oh, that's something I was like, I figured out as I was like going back in my history of clowns that each clown got me to like that next place. So I would say my little girl clown was that clown that allowed me to access the next level of me, where I got to focus on like my mission in my life. But she was my birthday party clown. She fed me for a long time. She's my most childlike clown of discovery. And there's a different version of her that later on became part of the virtual world and opened up that access point as well. Because I went right back to being like, I just need my basic needs met because it's pandemic. The only people I know how to play with are preschoolers. And boy, did they know how to deal way better than me. And thank goodness I had them throughout the journey.
They helped you through.
Yes, I did a play along kindergarten class that ended up being just my social emotional monsters that we played through. I thought I was doing something for them, but turned out the other way around, which happens a lot with my work.
It's so real. Yeah, it's so funny how simple children and animals know how to play, like, and how adults can forget that. Like, I forgot how to play, and that was the first note I got in a workshop. The first one I did, it's like, can you go home and try to find some like dogs or kids to play with? And I was like, yeah. And then I tried to play with them, and like one of the dogs like had PTSD and like tried to bite me. And I was like, I don't know how to play anymore.
But I would like to say something. It's children know how to play, but for them it's so naturally till they are 10 years old. So at this age, I tried to work with them. I needed much more energy to get them out from this already sticky, I won't be that you like me, and she's not, there's no more dog or cat. It's a girl performing being cat, and it's so boring. And the other side, I like even this moment of playing with adults. They forgot how to play, but if the moment there, and there's very quickly here, oh wow, and this spark, oh wow, that's so enjoyable, it's so cool. And because of it, I love more to work with adults than with children. This transformation that's made me so happy. It's you are witness of this magic of transformation of adults. Oh, so cool. Yeah. So I'm ready. Thank you for your patience.
It might be your sound now, Barney. May we see you? Can we hear you?
No,
No,
we can't hear you now.
But Lilia, you really mentioned a
Mine.
really interesting age for sure. Like that 8 to 10-year-old age, middle school, is a challenging age for vulnerability.
Da, 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 da. We have to sing, otherwise we can.
So for those of you who don't have visual, Barnaby is playing a banjo.
A ukulele? Is it a
Mind
banjo?
blown.
Oh, a ukulele.
Ukulele, yeah.
It could be a banjo. We could raise the budget here too. He's playing a 1960s Telecaster.
Let's all sing. What should we sing?
Ooh.
If we don't know what he's playing, maybe he could mouth what he's playing, then we could all sing it.
You are
Sunshine.
sunshine.
You are my sun, my
Sunshine.
only. You
My only sunshine.
You make me
happy.
The
Skies
skies
above.
of la-dee-da-dee-da.
oh dear, how much
Deja
of you. Please don't take my
La-dee-da-dee-da-da-da.
sunshine
soy.
away.
It's just a conversation with a fellow clown. It's not very serious.